Today, I have an exciting guest with me who I have been wanting to get on the show for quite some time. I listen to him every Monday, but not only Monday, I listen to him other days as well, as he is a motivational coach, and that's just one piece of what he does. His name is Dorian Jones. He's an author, he has a podcast, and he's also an entrepreneur. And today, we're going to discuss the importance of motivation. And I'm so excited that you're here today with us, Dorian. I have been wanting you here for quite some time. I love listening to you. You are so empowering for so many people. And I just want to thank you for the work that you do before these people even know, before the fans, everybody know, like you do amazing work. And I can't wait till they hear about it. So like what we do, we like to introduce the wine of the day. And I want to know what you're drinking over there.
Okay, so you want to know what I'm drinking first.
Yeah.
So this one here is a tri blend. This one is coming out of France. I don't know which region of France this one is from. I think it's from the Rhone Valley or somewhere in there. This one is a Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvedre
Mm,
mix. So
okay.
it's kind of a bold mix. I typically like to drink Grenache by itself. So this is one of, I think I've drunk one like this by itself. So it has a bold body. It has a lot of like dark berry flavors, some leather. I'm trying to remember what I tasted, but I don't want to do a whole taste testing on you.
You can. You
Well,
can.
let's see.
That's what we do on the show. We try to do a taste test every show. So if you want to do
Okay,
it, please.
let's see. We're gonna do this. I'm into wine just like you, so we got my. I definitely smell like a smoky flavor in it. That's like a blackberry. Man, can't really identify the other flavor that I smell. I smell something else though. Let's see. Definitely taste some smokiness,
Hmm.
like some earth tones. Can't, it's like a dark beer. I know it's a dark beer. I can't say if it's if it's cherry or blackberry. And like on the finish, I taste like a little bit of chocolate, like
Okay.
in some of my taste buds. But it's a decent wine. It's more of like a bold wine.
So is it sweet or is it dry?
This one is like off dry. I wouldn't say it's necessarily super dry. It's
Mhm.
definitely off dry.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for testing, because my audience, now we love to test our wine when we're drinking and
Mhm.
watching the show. So thank you for
Yeah.
doing it for us today.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, wine is one of my passions. I love me some wine. So
How did you get into wine, by the way? That's a good question. I think we all kind of want to know that, because you were very detailed about your tasting and what you
uh-huh.
tasted in your wine. So tell us how you got into that.
I got into wine because I got drunk too many times and I don't remember the nights before. No, I'm just nah, but seriously, I got into wine because it's more relaxing and it's so diverse. There's no one wine that's alike. It's always something to learn. And I'm a very inquisitive person. And that me getting drunk is a part of it too. Me having like a hangover and just not liking that feeling. I'm like, dude, I do not like how this feels
Hmm.
at the end of the night or in the morning time when you wake up, you got that dry mouth feeling. I just like to get my little good wine going in
Yeah.
and I like to get a good buzz and just relax. And you can always learn something about every single wine and it's different for every individual. So I like the diversity of it. That's what really got me into it. And just learning about it just encouraged me and motivated me more since I'm so inquisitive. It's always questions that's unanswered.
And you have a dream or a goal behind this wine, if I'm not mistaken. You have some things you want to do.
Yeah, yeah. I want to open a wine bar. I want to open a wine bar, and then I also want to have my own wine eventually. I thought about doing a winery, but just looking at the amount of work that goes into it, maybe I'll retire in that in the future. But as far as short term, like within the next, I'll say 5 to 7 years at the max, I want to have my own wine bar. I want to have one in, I don't know the location where I want to start yet. I have to look at the different rules and regulations in different cities. And then I want to expand it into multiple cities and then eventually get into like an airport or a baseball stadium or a basketball stadium, something like that to where it's more of a venue where people can go and enjoy wine but the retail locations will be more educational. And then it'd also be just like a good experience where you feel like you're going to your friend's house and you just relax and just sitting with wine. Like this is a girls' night out. This is a men's night out. We just come here, enjoy wine, and we can also learn as well.
Okay, that's cool. I like that idea too, and everything you're trying to do. So I'm just praying blessings your way for that.
Thank
Um,
you.
so I guess we can get into it. You have a podcast, and that is how I came across you. Your podcast is called Diligent Minds. You also have a book, and then I bought the journal not too long ago. Maybe sometime early this year, last year, I bought the journal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an organizer as well, so it definitely keeps us together. So I love that. And so you talk about, motivation a lot, picking yourself up. I've seen some of your podcasts talk about healthy relationships and, when you're feeling stuck, what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about a variety of things. You remind me of a therapist so bad. I'm just like, oh my God, like he's out here really helping people. Like, and it's good. It's good work. And you share your experiences, which I love the most. I love that about you. You share your experience. You are very vulnerable and open on your show. And that's what drew me near you. So I want to know, like, how did you develop a passion for what you do, for motivating people and being a coach now?
Well, it started with my own journey of myself, self-discovery, me realizing that I wanted to do something more, but not knowing what I wanted to do. I was in a space where I had a job, I was making good money. It was one of those things where people like, why would you want more? Like, you already have this, you have that. But it was something mental. It wasn't like a financial thing to where I was frustrated, struggling that way. I was doing well, but I knew that there was something more for me and I had to discover that thing. And going through depression in this stage, it made me feel like it's a lot that I don't know. And it got me to personal development. I'm gonna make a long story a little short, but I eventually discovered personal development and I realized that there weren't too many Black males in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to bring that to other individuals. So I had conversations with friends and family. They're like, hey, you really helped me with different things. And I had a client that I was working with, and they were like a really successful person. And I had a conversation with them. They was like, I never had anyone talk to me like that. Like, your conversation was just soothing. It helped me so much. And it just put me on a journey to figure out, how can I do this for more people? Because there's so many people at different stages of their life where they feel stuck. Yeah. It's not just people that feel like they're at the bottom or they're at their lowest point. There's people at their highest point in their life, in their career, where they also feel stuck, like there's more. I feel like I'm hitting the glass ceiling and I don't know how to break through. I can't break through the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, whatever it is you're dealing with. And I feel like my perspective as a Black male growing up where I grew up, it was going to help a lot of people and resonate with a lot of people. So that's what led me to starting the podcast and doing everything that I do.
And where are you from?
I'm from LA. I grew up in this area of LA called Watts, right next to Compton. Like, they're kind of like literally like a rocks throw away from each other.
Oh, really? Okay.
I grew up in LA, and I grew up basically in the projects in Watts. That's where I'm from.
Okay. And so I heard you say a little bit about depression. I said you went through that. That was something that you experienced. And with depression, we can feel stuck. That's one of those places where you feel low. And I wanted to know, how did you handle or manage your depression?
It was hard to finally manage it, because I felt like I still went through, even now, I still go through moments of, like, slight moments of depression where I'm in my head, where I'm like just overthinking, because I feel like when we have a vision for where we want to be, and then we compare it to where we are, even though where we are may be a good place, we just see the future us and we feel like, I have so far to go, and we get overwhelmed and we overthink things. And for me, I learned how to just be in the present, focus on the right now, just breathe, relax, show gratitude for what you do have right now, and always believe that you will get there. You're on your journey, and everything in life is preparing you for what you desire, everything that you're asking for. I always tell people that you need to ask for something so that that pathway can be paid for you. So that as you working towards something, even when you don't feel like you're getting there, know that the universe is working twice as fast for you to reach that goal, because it's going to be a hard road where it's going to be a lot of downs and ups, but you'll probably have more downs, honestly. But sticking through it and knowing what you're going after will help you push through those moments where you feel depressed, where you feel stressed out and don't know what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm. And then I also heard you say that a lot of males, it weren't many males in that area of what you were dealing with. And what was something that you gained from noticing that? What was something different that you did?
It was just being me, honestly, just being real, just being honest. And because I noticed that there was, let's be real, this is a lot of middle-aged white men that was in the personal development space, motivational space. So you look on YouTube and that's what you see. That's what's given to you. You don't see many people that look like us, that are Black people, that are especially Black males. You may see the women that are influencers, and then they have this certain lifestyle, and then they use motivation in some sort, but just actually giving out the information to the people has been something that I noticed that was missing. It was a gap there. And I knew that I could resonate with a lot of people that didn't have a voice, and they were looking for people that looked like them, and they
Yeah.
were going through these things, but it may have been masked based on just like maybe they've been laughing through their pain, maybe they've been going through entertainment through their pain, but they don't know how to handle these emotions and all these things that they facing, and they may feel alone, and they scared to have these conversations with friends and family members because they don't want to be judged.
Mm-hmm. And I think that we still struggle with that, especially with males. You know, they're I think more of the male community with African Americans are now trying to reach out because they see more of their faces.
Mm-hmm.
But we still lack that, you know, in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
So for someone, and I guess this is you getting into your role at this point, for someone who may be dealing with what you dealt with, and you know, at this point, they may feel stuck. They may, you know, feel like they have to laugh through their pain. They may not see um, a reflection of them that can help them.
Mm-hmm.
So, what advice would you give them if they're in that space that you were in? Like, what would you tell them that they can do?
First, I want to tell you to have faith. Believe that you can get through it, that you will work through it, and don't give up. Because there's going to be a lot of moments where it's easier to give up, but that's the easy road. You can always just stop and just sit there and do the thing that has less tension. When you go towards something that's going to push you and demand more of you, then that's the direction you need to go. Just push through the pain, continue to learn and understand yourself, and don't dismiss your feelings. Many times we try to sweep them under the rug when we need to address them and see what's causing this. Why am I feeling this? Why am I thinking this? So I tell anyone dealing with any type of doubt, depression, stress, focus on what's causing it. What pain are you feeling that you need to overcome? So identify that and then work backwards. And don't feel ashamed about where you are on your journey. All as humans, we all go through different things at different stages of our life. Never compare yourself to somebody else because somebody else's 12 o'clock don't look the same as yours.
Right.
And that's the hardest part because we have social media, we have these different images in the world where we looking at life. We like, hold on, how are they doing this? Like they 20 years younger than me. How they doing it? I want to do it. So we get all these different things thrown at our senses, but we need to block all that stuff out, focus on what it is that we want and find what makes us happy. Find our why as well. What thing is going to push you when you're at your lowest moment, whether it be your kids, whether it be a goal. Identify these things for yourself and just go after it.
I love that. And I love that you even brought up comparison because you have a few shows that talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, you know, that was very rich that you said somebody 12 o'clock don't look like yours, right? But I feel like a lot of times people start to, I guess I'm gonna use some of my clients. Let me just use some of mine for the right now.
Mm-hmm.
So a few of my clients, you know, they deal with the depression or the sadness or feeling stuck because they compare. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that you are a coach for motivation and you coach in other areas as well. Dealing with clients like that, what is your main tactic to work with them to get past that? Because that is very common.
Mm-hmm. I tell them to look at where you want to go. Focus on you. I say turn all that stuff off. Stop consuming that content because it's going to be there continuously. Always remember that there's somebody on the same stage as you. Just because you see that one person that these algorithms are pushing, just because you see the 1% of the world, the less than 1% of the world, remember that a lot of those people probably doing that for the views. They probably living a fake life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying all of them are, but there's some people doing it for the views, for the attention. So never feel like you're behind. Never feel like what you're doing is less because there's like 99, 98% of people that feel the exact same way as you do. Just work your way through what it is you're going through. Live in the moment. Focus on making your current moment your best moment. Don't think about the future. Don't think about things from your past, what you wish you had done. Don't hold on to those regrets. Mm-hmm. And just continue to be your best self. Continue to show up 1% better every day. Think about how can you make this a successful day? And that looks different for everyone. It could be for somebody, it can be simple as making sure I clean my house. Let me make sure I do my laundry. Let me make sure I make my bed up. Focus on building those different success tactics, and then mentally is going to develop you into a success pattern. And then that's going to flow over to other parts of your life.
I agree. And I love that you said it coming, you know, showing up 1% better every day.
Mm-hmm.
That 1%, I think what we get, and I'm going to say we, because I've been there before. We get stuck and feeling like we got to give a whole 100. Like I got to give 100 to get out of this. 1% not going to work. But we forget that it's the steps that lead us up to getting out. That 1% will add to 2%. So one, like it's all of these percents are adding up to that 100%. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of us look over that, and you just brought it up, and you said it so beautifully, where people are able to understand, definitely
Hmm.
understand. So I love that. And I wanted to know, like, what other things do you do as far as coaching? Because this is something you do. So what has been, I guess, some things you may have added to your plate that is outside of motivating? What are you doing now?
The main thing is just focusing on that and then speaking, going out to speaking to youth, working with LAUSD as well, working with some of their high schools with their Black student, what is it, BSA, Black Student Achievement Program. We're going to these high schools, speaking to them, also speaking to some of the parents in the underserved communities about the communities that I came from as well, showing them like, hey, look, I'm a kid that was in the same environment as you and these same things. So if I can do it, you can do it. Not one of those things, but also expressing to them the benefits of a growth mindset. So doing that, speaking, and then also the coaching, the products, and then the content on social media and YouTube as well. Those have been some of my main things I want to do or that I've been doing. And then I also want to get into television, which I've already been working on writing different things to tell our stories. One of the things I realize is that as a Black man, we don't have many voices. So I
Yeah.
see these different TV shows, I see these different things that express the visions of Black women, showing Black women empowered and showing Black women in
Mhm.
these great groups, but we don't have that as Black men to tell our stories. So I want to continue to be a catalyst and be a person that expresses this for other Black males to encourage them, to show them that they're not alone.
Mhm.
And another thing I'm working on is in the future is doing a men's group, a men's, not necessarily a therapy group, but a group where it feels like a safe place where we just come and talk about life. We talk about careers. We talk about things we're going through as men, as Black men, things we're dealing with in a society where you can come and not be judged. So that's something I'm working on presently at the moment.
Do you feel like, this is just me asking from a male's perspective at this point,
Mhm.
do you feel like men feel judged a lot when they want to share or be vulnerable about what they feel? I know you said earlier, you talked about how we avoid what we feel. We don't want to, I guess we want to avoid it. We don't want to bring it up. We don't want to talk about it because it's probably uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So do you see that a lot in the male population?
Yes, I do. I do see it a lot amongst males because we're looked at as, I wouldn't say looked at as less than, but we're always looked at as an aggressor. So when we go out into the public eyes, we have so many things we need to look out for. We need to look out amongst our own people that may be against us because we don't know who may do something to us just because of the area we in, the clothes we wearing, the car we driving. And then you may have to look out for, oh, do this woman think I look good? Or I need to look at my image. How do I look? So I want to look good in that aspect. And then we also have to look on the outside, the police. So everything that we have when we go outside is so much against us. So we always in our head, we always have our head on the swivel. We looking around at these things. So to answer your question, yes, with Black males, we have so many things that we hold in that we scared to share because there's not many people that will understand, or we may feel like we just complaining, like we need to just suck it up, be tough, don't cry, don't say this, don't say that. Like you got to be a man, you got to be strong. All these things were implanted into a lot of us. I feel like the culture now, it's a little bit different. I feel like they're more open to sharing it or being more, it's being presented to them in a little bit of a different way. But there's still a level of that where we need to hold a lot of stuff into ourselves because we don't want to be judged.
Hmm.
And I think we need to know that we're not the only ones dealing with this, that we're not alone. And we
Hmm.
need that support. We need that support from one another. We need somebody where if we cry or if we say that we're going through this, that we're not being judged, that we're being supported.
Hmm.
And also, I think one thing that I've started doing was I tell other Black males, like if I'm really close with them, I'll say, hey, man, I love you. Learning how to say that because I was always like, hey, man, you being soft. Like, what you saying? I love you. Like, I can't say that. Like, I force that out of people sometimes. I'm like, if it's somebody I care about, a family member or a close friend, I love you, man. I'm proud of you. Just continue doing your thing. You need that encouragement.
So basically, you are now normalizing saying "I love you" to your male partners, your male friends, or whatever, and trying to get them to do the same back.
Yeah, and support because it's not natural for us to support one another. We always feel like we have to be in comparison with each other. Just
Yeah.
because somebody is doing something different doesn't make you better than them, doesn't make you less than them. You're the same. You're on your own journey. And don't look down on somebody just because they're not where they want to be yet. And I think that needs to be normalized. You hear it in music, you hear it all the time. Oh yeah, get you a man that can do this for you, get you a man that's not broke. So you hear all these things. So the man that's not at that level, they have this self-confidence that gets dropped. based on the perceptions of what the world is giving them, based on what's being fed to them. And I feel like that needs to be broken.
I agree. I agree. And I wanted to ask you, like, when was a time that you were in that space? You talked about how we, may be feeling judged, or you want to keep it to yourself, feel like, you are alone, these things. So when was the time you were in that space, and how did you come out?
When I first started speaking, when I first decided that I'm going to do something different, I felt real isolated because I felt like where I was coming from, people didn't understand. They called it weird. They said, "Oh, what he think he doing? He think he better." So that's all that talk got into my head. I'm like, damn, they don't like me. They just looking at me.
Yeah,
They looking
you
down
were,
on me.
yeah, right.
Yeah. So I'm feeling like, hold on, like I'm doing good. And then in other people's eyes, you may be doing good, but I'm like, no, I need to do better because you hear all this outside noise. You thinking about what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
And I was in that space for so long, just thinking about what other people are gonna say. And that was one of my biggest challenges because I would try to present it to people that I knew, people that I grew up with. I'm like, look, you need to listen to this, check this out. But I learned that I had to drop that and I had to let people come to their own realization that it's something that they want and it's not something that you can feed them. And that helped me get over that hump because I was in that for a while. I was like, dang, like they don't want to listen to me. They don't want to believe me.
Yeah.
And you can say one thing and then I'm like, hold on, like I literally just said that same thing, but then they posted a celebrity that said something that I just said. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm telling you the exact same thing. Like, come on. But sometimes it's the messenger and not the message. And I
Yeah.
have to accept that.
And
It's
I,
not.
and I feel like you are talking to so many people right now,
Mhm.
because we have the expectation that our loved ones are our friends. They gonna support us no matter what. You're gonna do this. They're gonna listen, they're gonna post it, this and that. And
Yeah.
and I feel like that's when they shut down, when the expectation has failed, when their friend does not do that. When their
Mm-hmm.
expectation has been just, it was actually hit. Like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is to keep going no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. You have to keep going. You need a vision. If anybody is listening to this right now, I'm telling you, if you have a goal, you have a dream, whatever that goal is, no matter how far off it may seem,
Hmm.
just go ahead and do it. Because once you tell the universe, once you tell God what you want, the pathway for you to get there is laid out for you and you don't even know it. So it's going to be things that's dropped out of your life. It may be friends dropped off because they may be anchors holding you down from getting to that next stage. You on that ladder right now, you climbing up like, I want to reach up here. I want to reach it. I want to reach that goal. But I feel stuck. You may be holding on to old relationships, old habits,
Yeah, they were.
old thought patterns that may be stopping you from getting on to that next stage. So I'm telling you, just continue to go. Don't worry about who fall off. They meant to fall off. If it's meant for y'all to come back together, you will. Because sometimes you have to stray. We walk in on this path together. And sometimes you have to stray away and show others, like, this is the pathway that I was talking about. You have to lead that path and be a trailblazer. And then people are going to see, like, oh, I see what you're talking about. Now I want to follow that path. Sometimes you just have to be that person. Whether you believe it, whether you don't believe it, just trust your feeling, trust your gut, and trust that you have everything within. That thought, that feeling, that dream would not be given to you if it's not possible.
That's it. And I feel like so many people now want you to be in their ear every day, because people lose
Mhm.
motivation, and that's why I want to talk to you and have you on the show, because you can lose motivation at any time, and people, they can be so motivated, so on a high, and
Mhm.
one situation take place and it's done. Now, like, my
Yeah.
motivation is gone. And I think I listened to you earlier today. You talking about motivation, some on your podcast. I cannot remember what the title of the show. It was an earlier show too.
Uh-huh.
But like, when we get to that point where we're on a high, we have the motivation, and the one incident could be that we were told no. No is a big one. No is a big one. And I heard
Yeah.
you say on your podcast, all of those no's could lead to that one yes you need. I never forget you said it, and I'm like, that is so true. But
Mhm.
from your words, your experience, and how you want to tell us from the coaching standpoint, what do we do when we lack that motivation, when we are hit with that one situation that really, like, kind of sets us back?
Just recalibrate yourself. Take it in. Like, all right, cool. You okay to feel those emotions? You okay to feel down? That's normal. It's humans. I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, you need to stay up. Like, no, you definitely gonna feel down because you got your hopes high, and then you get that letter saying, hey, you didn't get this, or you don't get that response from that DM or that email. You're like, man, they overlooking me right now. They overlooking me.
I
Like,
mean, I'm a witness of that. They overlooking me. Like, why are they overlooking? I'm good,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just consistency. Well, I say persistence is the main thing because it's easy to be consistent when everything is going good. But when things aren't going your way, you have to persist no matter what. Trust in it, believe in it, and just keep on pushing. And sometimes you have to get out your own way and say, am I doing things where I need to pivot and go in a different direction? And not saying changing your destination, but changing your route to your destination. Sometimes that's needed. We may be in our own way being stubborn, and we need to change our direction. So if you ever feel like your day is getting thrown off or something didn't happen your way,
Mm-hmm.
sit back, think, okay, do I need to do something different, or am I going on the right way? And this is just one of those thousand no's that I need to take before I get that one meaningful yes. Because one door closes for another one to open. Just because you received a no today, that may be stopping you from getting a yes that would have been good for you in the short term, but not the long term.
That's it. You ain't said no but word.
Yeah, nah, definitely, because we don't understand. It's always that thing of what we have anticipated in our mind. But remember, you laid that path. If you believe in God, you believe in the universe, whatever you believe in, they have a bigger vision for you. So just trust and believe that, and just continue to move. I don't care if you're selling $0 in your products and you're putting all this effort into it. Keep on going, because once that one sale come through, that's that inspiration, that's that motivation that you need. Like, you know what? That's it right there. I got that one sale. I don't care if it's a negative. You got that sale. I got a customer now. That's your proof of concept. It's billions of people in this world that will connect with whatever you are doing. Learn how to find your people, learn how to connect with your people, give them your service, your products, or just to share who you are with them.
I love this actually. Everything you're saying it is soothing, and it is definitely empowering. And I love this so much. I think I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if you even spoke about it yet or not, but about, have you been in that place where you lost motivation? Like and you had to work your way out?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I hit it maybe, I say a couple of months ago. I was like, hold on, I just feel stagnant. I feel like I was doing all this work, but I wasn't getting the results that I feel like I deserved based on the amount of work I was doing. I felt like I deserved to be way further than where I was, even though it may look on the outside like I'm further, but I always feel like I put that pressure on myself. So I just get into these little moments where I'm just sitting there overthinking things, overthinking and making it more complicated than it needs to be. And I just had to pull myself out by remembering why I'm doing it, knowing that not everybody is going to understand what I'm doing, but then there's still a group of people that need the things that I'm doing.
Yes.
And I sometimes, as a professional, I feel like, I don't know if you deal with this as well, where you feel like I know this, so you should know this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you feel like you may under explain something because you feel like you know how you talking to people and then you say, you know what I'm talking about. In reality, sometimes people really don't know what you're talking about. You need to break these things down.
Mm-hmm.
And that keeps me motivated, because I know that it's people looking up to the things that I'm doing. It's people looking forward to it because it really helps them. So honestly, what pulls me out of my depression modes or out of those moments where I lose motivation is just knowing that there's people dependent on me, people that's coming to listen to me every single week, people that's looking for me to be that guiding person to say, okay, Dorian said do this, let me go ahead and continue moving forward. I had someone, I had offered like a text number that I used to have, and they said this couple had actually texted me. What was it? It was a guy. He said, my girlfriend got me listening to your podcast, so now like I'm a fan. I really follow you. And sometimes when we go through things, we always think like, what would Dorian do? Like that's our saying. Like
Oh,
what would
I love
Dorian do?
so.
And that just really, it put me into perspective. Like, okay, even though you looking at yourself that you need to be further, it tells you that people are listening to you. And
Yeah.
that's the same with you. Whoever you are listening to this right now, is someone listening to you that can use your guidance, because all the experience that you have in life, there's someone else that's going to go along that same path that can use your wisdom.
And I think what I'm hearing you say is that it's not all about the masses, the majority of people, everybody. It's like if you have those people who are that you are reaching, those are the people that you can keep going for. You know,
Right.
eventually you'll reach everybody else, but don't give up on the people that are behind you or listening to you or getting something from you because you want more and you feel like you're not there. So
Yeah.
it's no giving up. It's like keep going because people are dependent on what you got going on. A lot
Right.
of times people, they watch us, they, learn from us. And when we stop because and I would say a lot of times we look at what other people have and how many people are following them and how many people are doing things for them. We tend to forget what our purpose is. So what is your purpose to be famous? Is your purpose to have numbers? Is your purpose to help people? And your
My,
thing is, I'm here to help people. Like I'm gonna
right.
keep going. Yeah.
Exactly. My purpose is to help people. I want to encourage people to go. And that's another goal of mine, is to get on TV. It's like you see Steve Harvey, but I want it to be more motivational. I want to bring people on to share their stories, to encourage other people to continue on their journey. I want to just encourage people because I know it's so many people that need that push. They need that motivation. They need that clarity. Like, hold on, okay, they went through all this, and I look up to where they are right now, but I didn't know that they were homeless for 5 years. I didn't know they were sleeping in the car to get to where they are. I didn't know the sacrifices that they made, and I want to share those stories with the world. I want people to understand you're not alone on this journey, and you can do whatever you put your mind to. Like, it's all for you to get.
And speaking of whatever you put your mind to, me and you talked earlier, and you don't have a degree for what you're doing. This is your passion. This is
Yeah.
something that was divine and given to you. And what can you tell somebody? Because a lot of people that I feel like people have so many passions, so many things they want to do, but they allow the idea of having a degree to stop them, or the idea of working or having experience in that field to stop them. So they won't go for it, right? So
Yeah.
what is your advice to that person who, I want to do this, but I'm not qualified? That's what I'm trying to say.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because for me, like you said, I don't have a degree. I barely graduated from high school. So so for me, it was more of a if you looking at something and you don't have a degree, you don't have the experience, I feel like you have to build your network, connect with people that's in that world that do have it, but you have to figure out how can you bring value to that space? How can you bring like a product or something or a service or just yourself to it? What are you bringing that's different that people are going to connect with, where your value can't be dumbed down despite a degree? Because I feel like a degree, sometimes people let that stop them. They feel like, I don't have a degree in it. But it's so many times you can go and get a job, you can go and do things that will put you in that space without a degree. So find a different angle to go at it, find a different way. And that's
It's,
what I did.
it
Mhm.
sounds like you're real big on recalibrate. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean when you real big on, okay? What's something else we can do? You are super huge on it. I've heard you say it over and over and over. So what does that look like? Like, give me an example of a time that you had to do that and how you picked it up and just you kept going forward.
Well, let's see. I used to apply for different jobs. But I knew I had the experience, but I knew that they were looking for someone with a degree. Like, hey, you need a 4-year degree. But what I continue to do, I just continue to put out value. I continue to be this person that was in that space, but I didn't have the degree. So they can see the track record. They can see that I put out the work. They can see that I have the knowledge. And then I will continue to build relationships with the people within these industries, within these companies. And then they know what I'm known for. They know that, okay, he can come in and speak to this group of people and deliver X, Y, and Z. So that'll be something that I would look at. If you feel like you don't have the credentials, what value can you continue to present to the world? What things, how can you pivot and find a different door into that same way? Because you don't necessarily need a degree to get into everything.
Very true.
Something, if you're a doctor, you can't just say, look, I'm online making doing some surgeries. You're not going
Yeah.
to do that. But of course, other things that make sense, then it's always a workaway around it.
So, and I love that, what value can they bring? Everybody has a value. You know what I'm saying? You have a value, you have a purpose, you have meaning, right? And your thing
Right.
is, you still can add value to whatever it is we're doing. And you may not need a degree for it. So what can you bring to the table that the person with a degree may not have, or they may not bring value or add value in that way? So I
Right.
think that's what I'm hearing you say, which I feel like a lot of people need to hear that.
Yeah, like just putting your foot in the door, even if you have to start at the bottom, start like you hear, start in the mailroom, start being an assistant. Just get your foot in that door just to be in that space. It may be at the bottom, but no, remember the janitor can always be the CEO one day.
You better say, I know, and I know so many. Ain't that crazy? That's
Yeah.
crazy. I know so many. They started from the very bottom and now they run the entire thing. So, and
Yep.
I would, encourage people to not be ashamed of that, because I think now in society, a lot of people are ashamed to have those type of jobs, ashamed, embarrassed, whatever, because of, like, we've said before, what people may think or say, but
Mhm.
sometimes you just have to, like you said a minute ago, shut out the noise. The noise is what it's to me, the noise is a distraction. The noise is what holds us back. The noise is what gets us stuck, because we are listening to things that are outside of what we're supposed to be doing, which means we may not have been tunnel vision. So I believe in having tunnel vision. I believe in just going forward straight. I'm focused on what I'm supposed to do, because when I'm focusing on this person's grass, if I wouldn't have focused on their grass, I wouldn't have known how much greener theirs was than mine, because I would have
Right.
been watching my own. So I feel like it's very important that we have tunnel vision and we shut out the noise, because the
Hmm.
noise is what makes us question ourselves, in my opinion.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely stay focused on your goal. If you start somewhere and you feel like this isn't where I want to be, just focus on how can you build up? What can you do every single day? Making sure your days are productive. Go back to that 1% better every day. How can I be a better version of me that's going to compound into the person I want to become?
Hmm. So I know we talked a lot about motivation, and you gave us so many tips today, a lot of tips, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
So with the tips, what are some things that you have that we can accumulate ourselves from you? I know you have a book, you have a journal. What all do you have, and things that you have coming out later that we can get our hands on that can
Mhm.
help us stay motivated?
The main things I have now are my book, which is, let me see, I got it right here. My book called Separating from the Pack. Helps you separate from your old beliefs, thoughts, and habits that's stopping you from reaching your full potential. Then I have my journal as well, which is right here. Let's see, I have one. So it's just a simple planner, motivational affirmation type planner. Have a lot of different things to keep you structured. It also has things to help you track your mood. You write down your affirmations, um, the dream life you want to manifest, and just continue to keep track of where you are along the year. One thing I love about it is that you don't have dates on it. So if you break down and say, "Oh, I forgot to write in for a week," cool, you get back to it and write on it. You're not missing any dates. I have that. I have my podcast. I have my YouTube, which I've been focusing more on now. I have social media, which I need to start posting more socials on there, or more content on there. And then I have a lot of other things that I'm gonna start announcing later that are still in the early stages that I don't want to talk about just yet. I've been focusing more on just the content. Main thing is the podcast. That's my baby right there, because it's so, I can reach so many people. You can reach so many people from around the world, and I love that with the podcast. It's grown. I started in 2019. I started recording that in my closet on my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started recording straight in the closet on my phone, editing on my phone because I had a cheap computer that couldn't handle me editing. So I just found a way to do it, and now I have like a whole full professional setup and everything.
Yeah, that was
So,
it. I think that's pretty much example of start from the bottom up. Like you can get
mhm.
up there, you just got to start somewhere at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Because we overthink it. We sometimes think that we need to have this, we need to have the best camera. I'm like, no, don't go invest money into it. I coach people to help them understand that you can start where you are, but not just start where you are, but think about long term. And I help them get there. I help them reach their full potential. I help them reach their full potential based on where they see themselves going. We see where you are right now and we see where you want to go. Now let's create a pathway for you to get there. Who's the person you need to become today to reach that goal? So I coach people as well, if I forgot to mention that. But those are some of the main things that I focus on, focusing on what you have right now and not overthinking, getting out of your own head.
Okay, and I was gonna get to the coaching thing because I want you to kind of share with us like where can we get your book, the
Mhm.
planner, where can we listen to the podcast, YouTube. I need all the info at this
I
point, and
got
how
you.
can we get into coaching?
Okay. Okay, I got you. So how did I get into coaching? If
Well,
you
you
did.
know what? I thought I asked that. I might not have asked that. Yeah, how did you get into coaching? I didn't ask that.
Actually, it fell into my lap. Somebody from the podcast reached out to me and they were like,
That's
hey,
how you
look,
got into coaching.
yeah, I didn't,
Oh,
it
that's
fell into my
amazing.
lap. I was charging, I was like, okay, well, cool. I guess charge $140 a month. I was just lowballing myself and I gave them so much. And then she ended up contacting me like, hey, look, with your advice, I started my business and I already made, I think she said she made like $2,000 her first month in her local. Like, I'm like, hold on, I'm charging a little bit too less.
Okay.
So I started. So I started to really like build it up and learn more about coaching, and I developed like a whole plan and a whole track record of a pathway, I should say, to where I want to take people and what it is that I service and how I help them. And that's how I fell into my lap. Somebody from the podcast just reached out to me asking if I offered it. And I just said, yeah. And then I took on a few clients at that low rate, but then I continued to level myself up. And I want to make it affordable and like practical for people.
So how do we become a client for coaching?
Oh, you can reach out to me on Instagram. You can also check out my website, dorianjones.com, which I'm pretty sure the link will be down in the show notes. Am I saying is it description or show notes? Show
It's in
notes.
the show notes.
Yeah, yeah, show notes. So you can find it there. But you can reach out to me on IG anytime. You can just reach out to me, ask questions. I'm real cool. I'm not about to just dismiss you or just ignore you. Nah, I'm here for the people. I'm here to help
I
y'all.
love
I
that.
want to see
I love
everybody achieve their goals.
I love that. Now, where do we get the book and the planner?
The book and the planner, you can get it both on Amazon or my website. You can, I tell people go on Amazon since you probably already have an Amazon account. It doesn't matter to me. You can do both ways. You can do that. And you can also get it from my website, which for the books, I sign each copy that comes from my website. So if you want a signed copy, I recommend you go there. And my podcast, you can find it everywhere you listen to podcasts. Just search Dorian Jones or Diligent Minds, and I'll pop right up. And I just started putting it on YouTube as well. And you can go on my YouTube, which is Dorian Jones Official, and you'll see me pull up on there as well.
Okay. Now YouTube, I'm actually gonna start watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess switching over a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How did you become a green thumb? I just want to know because you have,
oh
my God, you have so many plants. It looks so good. Like, how did you even get into planting?
Because I got bored. I had no life. I had nothing to do. I was just in the pandemic. I had not much to do, so I started getting plants. I started killing them, but it was just so fun for me though. I was like, okay, I see this thing growing, and I just started collecting them and started learning so much more. It was the same with wine. I just started getting into it, and there was so much to learn. It just kept, since my mind is so inquisitive and always asking questions, it's always something to learn. So that's why I got into plants, and I just found the ones that I like. I have I say maybe about 14, 15 plants right now, and I want to get more.
You want to get more? Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah, you can never have too many. So that's how I got into it. I learned how to take care of them, and they just relaxing for me. It's just like one of those, the old ladies that they garden and they like, I'm just picking my vegetables. That's me. I'm that old lady that's at their garden picking their stuff. That's me with
I
my
love that. I think you have to nurse one later. It's a word you use. It wasn't nurse. It was something you're gonna do one of your plants later on. I can't remember what did you say?
Oh, what, this one that I said before
I
the
think
show?
it was that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got to water the multiple because it's dry. Because it's not it's not a high humidity area. It's dry in here, so it dries out really fast. But this one needs a lot of humidity. So these leaves, I don't know if you could tell, but they'll probably get like 3 feet. I have some that's almost that size at the bottom, but this one is called a Monstera esqueleto. If you ever want to look it up, it's really unique. So it climbs on the pole, as you can see. I need to chop it. I got golden pothos right here, which looks like it's dehydrated. I have a bunch of plants. I'm not going to go through my
You
plants.
have a lot, but I love
Yeah.
when I go to your YouTube channel, they'll see it because
Yeah.
on Instagram and when you post your clips, you can actually see a lot of the plants. So that's when I started noticing. I'm like, oh, he got a lot of plants. So I think that'd be kind of cool for people to know that you're into that as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I thought about when I start to incorporate these things in my content, I thought about what would I like to get paid for? I'm like, I already like plants and wine, so incorporate this into my content. So that way, when I start to look at sponsorships, I get free things for stuff I already like. So
very smart, very smart. I love it. Thank you. I have appreciated you. I've enjoyed you today. I feel like you have helped so many people with just your tips, the techniques, the strategies, and just your experience and what you go through and what you do for people. And is there anything that you want to share with someone that may be dealing with anything that you could possibly help with as far as being stuck, motivation, comparison, whatever it is, anything that you would like to leave the audience with today?
If I didn't say this already, I want to say just believe in yourself. That's where it starts. It starts with believing in yourself. And then that belief leads to you taking action, and you taking action leads to results, which builds that confidence that you need. So it all starts with belief within wherever you are on your journey. I don't care if you feel like you're too old, it's not true. If you feel like you don't have enough money, it's not true. You're exactly where you need to be at this moment in your life to make your life even better. So just start doing it because that thought was given to you for a reason, and that's because it's possible. Lock in on what it is you want and go after it no matter what.
I love that. Well, family, I hope that you all enjoyed the show. Everything will be in the show notes for you to get. And until next time, let's talk about it.